Hey everybody, this is Doc from Doc's Boneyard. Hey, listen, the podcast you're going to hear is an actual recording of a live Facebook video and live feed that I did February 26, 2022 in regards to the situation in Ukraine and the Russian military action and the triggering that it can cause us veterans and non-veterans alike. And this is the actual conversation, or correction, this is the actual audio from that video that took place. Recording this for a podcast for those of you who missed this live cast. We are being inundated right now with media coverage from the Ukraine. And I got to admit, as a combat veteran, it enrages me. It really does. The anger I feel toward the Russian government and the senseless slaughter and senseless violence against these peaceful people is just, it's something that just, it's overwhelming. And the reason I'm doing this podcast is for fellow veterans out there who are seeing this, and it brings back our experiences. You know, it causes us to relive them because we can relate to what we're seeing on TV. Now, granted, we live in a world where, we have instant connection on social media to breaking news stories. Yes, I get it. And I'm going to particularly call Fox News out with the amount of coverage that they're putting on. It's constant, non-stop bombardment of the events in the Ukraine. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be kept apprised of what's going on because of the seriousness of the situation. And it's not just a Ukrainian problem. It affects all of Europe. Kennedy had it right when he said the domino theory in relation to communism. And this is an attempt from Vladimir Putin to take what he believes should belong to the former Soviet Socialist republics, the former Soviet Union that broke up in 90. I hate to use this comparison, but it's the same shit that Hitler did back starting in 1939. German domination of Europe. This is no different. But what I'm really concerned about is these events triggering our fellow veterans. And, I encourage you to keep apprised of current events. Yes, be aware of what's going on. We have troops stationed in and around that region. We have troops in Poland and the Baltics. And there's talk of Article 5 of NATO, how they activated their so-called quick reaction force if needed. I don't know what's going to happen militarily. The only one that knows what's going to happen militarily is Vladimir Putin. He's calling the shots. All we can do is sit back and watch. Unfortunately, unless we have direct involvement militarily, and if we do have direct military involvement, there's always the threat of nuclear retaliation. Now, for those of you who weren't around during the 80s, we had an agreement with the Soviet Union back then about the MAD Treaty, the Mutual Aid Destruction Treaty. And basically, it was an agreement that, hey, look, you fire your shit, we're going to fire our shit, and nobody's going to win. So let's not do it. That has long since gone out the window. Russia does have nuclear weapons. They got those from Ukraine. Thanks in part to the Clinton administration. They convinced Ukraine to sell their nuclear weapons to Russia. Well, shit. There you have it. They are now in the Russian military now controls Chernobyl. And for those of you who do not remember the meltdown and subsequent nuclear disaster in Pripyat, the Chernobyl nuclear plant, that's still a hotbed. They have one working reactor there, but their second reactor was damaged and sealed, and it still leaks radiation. What are they going to do with that? They can cause a global nuclear disaster that parts of Europe still have not recovered from the first time. But again, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent. My concern is the veterans that are watching this saturation coverage of the tragedy in Ukraine. Guys, I'm guilty of this. I've had the fucking TV on since yesterday. I'm just as guilty as being sucked in to the constant bombardment of information that's coming out. It sickens me to see some of the coverage. Especially, they showed a picture of an elderly woman who obviously was somebody's grandmother who was carrying an AK. Now, if that was not a poignant moment, and that picture did not say everything that needed to be said, then I don't know what does. I do not know if the media just wants to report the story as it's unfolding, or if they want to use that to sway popular opinion to put pressure on the government to act. I don't know. All I know is that it is triggering. It's triggering a lot of anger, a lot of outrage, a lot of sadness. And I have to admit, if I could afford to, my ass would be on the way to Poland with my shit, with my tactical gear and my weapons, because I would gladly take up arms and help the Ukrainians fight for their country against the Russian threat and the Russian onslaught. I would do that in a heartbeat. I have a passport ready. It just so happens, I'm not able to do that. And it angers me because of that. It fucking angers me down to my core. The sad fact of this is that our intelligence agencies knew up to 6 months ago that this was a possibility. Fuck, even Putin himself said 6 months ago that it was going to happen. And I hate to get into fucking politics. I hate it with a passion. But the facts are this. The Biden administration did not do dick. And the reason they did not do a fucking thing is because of our dependence on Russian oil. We import over 500,000 barrels a day into this country. We shut down, or we didn't, correction, the Biden administration shut down the pipeline, which produced over 800,000 gallons a day. Do the math. We have European countries who did not want to do business with us, but would rather buy their oil from the Russian pipeline. Do the math. Imposing sanctions on on Putin is fucking pointless because he doesn't care. The only way to stop him is to choke off his finances. The whole SWIFT thing, the clearinghouse for all these countries. Yes, Russia owes all these countries billions of fucking dollars. They're never going to get it. Russia is damn near close to being insolvent now as a country. Cutting off their cash flow would be the only way to starve them out. And hopefully the good Russian people will figure out what the hell is going on and say enough, because they're protesting in the streets of Moscow and St. Petersburg. The Russian people are protesting. It does not help that the Russian state television will not show what's currently going on. They do not want the Russian people to know the truth. That's the whole communist doctrine thing, the whole fucking Marxist bit. Enough is enough. And again, I hate to bring politics up, but the Trump administration sold a shitload of Javelin missiles. A shitload of Javelin missiles to Ukraine as a means for self-defense because Trump warned that this was going to happen back in 2016. Shit, look at what happened in Chechnya. I guess I'm not sure if it was 2009-ish or when it was, but the invasion of Chechnya. Do we not fucking learn from history? The signs are there. The Obama administration didn't do dick. Why? I don't fucking understand it. Because they're bought and fucking paid for. How many billions of fucking dollars did Obama give to Iran, a terrorist state? What the fuck did John Kerry do? Went over and negotiated. What the fuck? It fucking enrages me. And we're fucking spoon-fed information by the media. And we fucking buy into it. Why? I don't understand it. We're fucking smarter than this. We're Americans, for Christ's sake. We're better than this, guys. I don't understand it. Do you not realize that if Ukraine falls, then that is the next world war? Because we will have to honor our NATO commitments. And if we do that, we will pay the brunt of that debt. Be it economically, militarily, humanitarianism, whatever, the United States will always stand up and do what's right. Unfortunately, we will have to take the lead. What does that mean? How many troops do we have in the region now? Our military cannot sustain another global conflict. Colin Powell, when he was Colin Powell, when he was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, proposed what he called the base force concept, which was a doctrine that said that we could have the manpower in place to fight two simultaneous conflicts. Yes, we did that. We did that in Iraq and we did that in Afghanistan. Look what the fuck it's cost us. Look at the shape of our military now. Look at how many billions of fucking dollars in military equipment we left in Afghanistan, for Christ's sake. We don't have the money. The countries that owe us fucking money are not going to pay up. We're at a pivotal time in world history, folks. The former Soviet Union, yes, may have disbanded, but the Russian Communist doctrine is still live and well. And until the Russian people realize that, this shit, they're under control. Until they want to have a freely elected, democratic-like society, this shit's going to happen. The fucking Chinese are loving this. They're not saying outwardly that we support what's happening in Ukraine, but you could bet your ass they're in league with the Russians. And if it does go to the fact that it's a United Nation involved conflict, you could bet your ass that China is going to fucking support it. They're going to support it with weapons, troops, and money. China is not our friend. China is our enemy. We have a global dependence on China. The Biden fucking administration is bought and paid for by China. Donald Trump stood the fuck up against China and said, no, we're not doing it. And a lot of this shit started back in the Clinton administration with the NAFTA and GATT treaties, forcing companies to take their shit overseas for tax breaks and whatever else. We have lost the infrastructure in this country to be self-supportive because of that. How many factories have shut down? What are our manufacturing capabilities now? Every fucking thing we get is from Taiwan or China or India or Pakistan. It's all fucking imported. We are losing our ability to be self-sustainable. And it's because of the fuckers in Washington that are bought and paid for by fucking special interest money. It's no surprise, folks. We need to wake the fuck up. I beg you, I implore you. The liberals have taken over this damn country. The Democrats have taken over this country. They are serving their own self-interests. My only hope is when the midterm elections come around that we can take back Congress and say, no, motherfucker, the rest of your term, you're not going to fucking sell us out, Joe. Joe has been in government service since 1973, folks. He is a fucking career politician. Yes, he was a lawyer and he was also a professor of law, but he also sold the fuck out and has been in politics ever since. Look at his liberal nomination for the Supreme Court, for crying out loud. What do you think her stance is going to be on your First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights, abortion, the things that matter? Look at her record. Her record is already in question. Yes, she may be qualified to hold that position if she gets confirmed, but she is a liberal. Folks, it's time to wake the hell up and smell the coffee. We cannot sustain this course of action. It makes me fucking sick. It really does. And I hate politics. I hate it with a goddamn passion. But enough is enough, folks. When's it going to stop? We have the power to take back our country. We have a voice. We need to use it. Now, I'm not talking about civil disobedience, rioting in the streets. No, that's wrong. I don't give a shit what you think your right is for civil obedience, but it is wrong. It's against the law. We have the right to gather peacefully, not burn buildings and tear people's shit up because you don't like what's going on. No, that's not the way it goes. That's not who we are. Hell, look at the Boston Tea Party, for Christ's sake, back in Boston Harbor. I mean, what's it going to take, folks? This country is being bought and paid for by special interest money. We have a shadow government that's in place. And they write the checks, which influences policy. Look at George Soros. That's a perfect fucking example. A Nazi war criminal. Who's a billionaire. Who funds civil disobedience. Who funds Antifa. Who funds Black Lives Matter. Look at fucking Hillary Clinton. Look what she did in the fucking White House. With the surveillance. If that's not an example of special fucking interest, I don't know what is. Enough is enough, guys. What legacy are we going to leave for future generations if we don't stand up and do what the hell is needed now? What's that going to say? The United States right now is not a superpower. We're a punching bag because we don't have sufficient leadership. Yes, I voted for Trump. I am a Trump supporter. I didn't agree with everything the guy did. No. But he had the best interest for this country in mind, and he acted on it. Look at inflation now. What's triggering inflation? The value of the dollar, supply and demand. Need I say more? Look at the thousands and thousands of tons of cargo sitting in Newport Beach and LA harbors, which is 40% of the imports that come into this country because of COVID. The country shut down. It's going to take years and years for us to recoup our losses, if we can ever do it. The whole point of this video, folks, is the triggers. You know, we can control what we see, and we can control how we react to what we see and the stress that we're bombarded with. I have no doubt, and God, I hope this doesn't happen, but this type of situation, being inundated with combat footage, is going to push some of our veterans over the edge. It's going to happen, and it doesn't need to happen. Any veteran that's lost from suicide is a fucking tragedy, because it doesn't need to happen. The catchphrase now is 22 a day. I don't know if that number's accurate or not, folks. I really don't. But, you know, it's a number that sticks with you. But it gets the point across. You know? And even our non-combat veterans, even people that haven't served, you know, this is triggering for them too, because they see these images. Is that what the media wants? Or are they just objectively reporting the news as it's coming in? I don't know. I do know that media sways public opinion. Yes. And policy is generated because of that. Yes. Anybody that says no, they're full of shit. Because the media can generate or put pressure on the government to change policy. I mean, that's shit. Look what happened in Mogadishu, Somalia. When word got out about the genocide and the starvation of the Somali people, what happened? We ended up there. The world press does affect policy. It influences policy. If you put enough pressure on politicians, they will act. That's what I'm imploring all of us to do. Put the pressure on the politicians to do the right thing, not act in their own self-serving best interests. Put America first. You know, Donald J. Trump had it right when he said, "Make America great again." We are the greatest nation on earth. We have the most freedoms because we've paid the biggest price. You have the ability to say anything you want. Now, there's also rights and responsibilities to go along with that, but you have the right to speak out against what's going on. Now, I'm working on a podcast now. It's called, I think, The Shit Hits the Fan or something like that. And that was basically about the last threat assessment that the Department of Homeland Security put out a few weeks ago about basically your rights to free speech and how the government, how the FBI, Department of Justice, and Homeland Security are going to start paying more attention to who says what, especially if you speak out about the government establishment, so to speak. If you don't believe me, go to the website and look at the latest bulletin. Okay, it's going to be active until about June or July of this year because it surpassed the last one. The government is trying to limit your ability to use your constitutional right of free speech. Big tech companies are doing it now. Facebook. I'm only waiting to see if Facebook pulls this live video feed or if they pull it later. Twitter, Instagram, all those are restricting your right of free speech. Now, granted, a lot of the shit that's on social media is garbage. Yes. Social media has become a platform of anonymity. People can talk shit without having to back it up. Folks, I'm putting it out there. For those who follow my podcasts, I say it the way it is. It's a safe zone, but not a comfort zone. Plain and simple. I do not want to have to get into the political arena. I do not want to have to become a political commentator because I hate politics. I hate partisan politics. Guys, I want to thank you for letting me speak my mind. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or just general feedback, please drop me a line at theboneyard2021@yahoo.com. That's theboneyard2021@yahoo.com. Like I said before, we live in the greatest fucking country on this planet. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Hey everybody, it's Doc from Doc's Boneyard. Hey, listen, if you're in the Fayetteville, North Carolina, especially around Fort Bragg, and you're looking for that hard-to-find military badassery gear, why don't you go see my buddy George at Silverback Military Surplus. He's located just outside the Yadkin Gate, 6477C Yadkin Road. He has a wide variety of patches, hats, tactical gear, you name it. Tell him Doc sent you. Hey everybody, it's Doc from Doc's Boneyard. Hey listen, mental health is no joke and the struggle is real. I'm joining forces with Roman Rosell, a veteran of U.S. Army Special Forces, to help promote mental health awareness. To quote Roman, I wrestle to save lives, including my own. Proceeds from this shirt go to benefit the Special Forces Association Chapter 38, who help many families in their invisible wound struggle. Now you can get yours today by going to collarandelbowbrand.com. That's collarandelbowbrand.com. Just type in the word Roman, R-O-M-A-N, in the search tab. I'm proud to support Roman, and I have this shirt, and I wear mine proudly. You can also find the link at the Boneyard 2021 on Facebook.